So guys, you can imagine a country where the president is not creative, the governors are not creative, the members of the cabinet of the president are not creative. And that is why you see Nigeria sliding. Anyway, take a look at this headline. The Emir of Kano has come out to say that, the former Emir of Kano has come out to say Nigeria is a country where we elect president before asking if he understands the job. And that is where we are. Because from the look of things, it appears the president does not even know where to start. He does not even know where to end. And that is why there is crisis in this country. Anyway, before we look further into this case or into this headline, have you heard of the new CJN in town? Reaching out says that this is the same person who made Hope Uzodinma governor of Imo State. We know Hope Uzodinma in that election came fourth, but how he now became the number one is what the judiciary is here to tell Nigerians. Possibly they had another glitch that gave them a wrong result. Anyway, in case you don't also know, talking about creativity, Hope Uzodinma is one of those worst performing governors from my own point of view. Don't forget, during the election, he promised the Imolites that he's going to give them job outside the country, that the EU countries are going to hire them, and that he's going to be paying for their visas. So guys, like I've told you guys that the problem with this country is lack of creativity among our leaders. Mr. Nnemeka is here to break it down for you to just know that what I'm saying is the fact. We have leaders who do not even understand their job. After 1 year and 2 years of Tinubu's administration, they are yet to understand what actually their functions are. Take a look at this video and drop your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell.
Encompasses most of the southeast and south of Nigeria today. What did he do? Nothing. He looked inward, where they had comparative advantages. Got a consultant, an American company, and fashioned a blueprint of how he wanted to develop 214-kilometer industrial belt, linking all the provinces within that region. And he went to work selflessly, and they accomplished it. As at 1965, if you look at the records, Nigeria was controlling 45% of the global palm oil market. Today, that market is $72 billion sized, controlled by Indonesia and Malaysia, 85%. If Nigeria had continued on that trajectory, today we would have been producing and exporting nothing less than $38 billion worth of.
Didn't one of those countries take the seedlings?
Yes, they actually came to Nigeria over a century ago to take the seedlings. Nigeria is the only place in the whole wide world where the palm plantation, the date, the moringa oleifera grows in the wild and fruits 365 days in 1 year. And these guys took the seedlings, modified it, and today somebody in Malaysia can produce the ton of palm oil, ship it 11,000 kilometers, and it gets into Nigeria cheaper than those producing here in Nigeria, and which is not supposed to be so. It's not so because we are yet to have leadership with vision, with passion, with creativity, with deep understanding, compassion, and empathy to drive this. And some people have always argued, Obara did it because we had a constitutional framework, physical framework that allowed the regions to control 50% of whatever they produced, gave 30 to the center, and then 20 to the federal government. And then, of course, everybody concentrated. Even under the current constitutional framework, within the states and local government areas, we can replicate it. If time permits me, I will give you examples. Okay. Now, the palm oil. As at 1965, we control 45% of the global palm oil market. Today, we can't even produce up to 45% of what we consume. Why? Our annual demand is estimated about 2.4 million tons. What we currently produce domestically is about 1,050,000 tons. And interestingly, we import palm oil from small Benin Republic, even Côte d'Ivoire. What can we do?
That they are producing?
Yes.
Or importing?
Yeah, we produce, we import from them. They are not, we produce, we import from them. Now, what do we do? Production of palm oil, palm plantation, which Michael Obara did. If you look at the historical trajectory of Nigeria, only Dr. Michael Obara and the military regimes that came after him did palm industrial estates. The current Tokomo and Presco was built by Gowon. Of course, it was privatized. What do we do? To cover the domestic supply gap, all we need to do is to plant new 400,000 hectares of the Tenera or Supergene palm plantation, which some of us, I chair a company, Southeast Farms, which came into being in 2016. And what was the vision of that Southeast Farms? To replicate and recreate Michael Obara's vision. And we came up with a very audacious plan, what we call missions, community diaspora, private-public partnership arrangement that will not touch the fact and jack of the governors, because most of them are scared of touching their fact and jack. It's their baby. And what was the arrangement? In the Southeast, we have 95 local government areas, 1,246 electoral wards. And in most electoral wards, we have 5 communities. In my own community, where I come from, Autonomous, we have 178 hectares of land surveyed, empty land that can actually be used. The arrangement was in every of the electoral wards. What would government do? Provide, the communities will donate their land, 300, 500 hectares, clusters. All the government needs to do, working with local, is to provide irrigation, provide road, no borehole, nothing more. Provide security to enable people to have a cluster where they can go into. If they had listened to us in 2019, they are not bringing money just to do that, provide security. In every of those electoral wards, we will do 100, 200 hectares of data. We will supply them the seedlings free of charge.
Who had listened to you? The
governors and local government chairmen. We will supply them the seedlings. We have the seedlings. Some of us have developed the nursery banks. The Tenera and the Super Gene can do about 30 tons, 60 tons per hectare. The local species we have does only about 3 tons per hectare. That is why cost of production is higher here than Malaysia and Indonesia, and which we can easily breach. If these governors had done this, the plantation is not just going to stand alone. We can intercrop legumes, vegetables, tomatoes, cucumber, onions. It is proven that it can be done anywhere in Nigeria. Agri-technology is something that you can just replicate. It's no brainer. If we had done this, as at that 2019, and it's not yet too late, by now in the Southeast, we'll have had at least enough palm production that will have covered the whole South demand, that will have generated nothing less than 1 trillion naira annually in the Southeast of Nigeria, that will have created nothing less than 600,000 direct jobs. That is number one.
Your focus was palm produce.
Not just palm produce. I'll give you another example. Yam. I don't know the last time you went to market to buy a tuber of yam. A tuber of yam in Nigeria today is about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. It's not supposed to be so. Scientifically, the per capita consumption of yam in Nigeria is 84 kg. In Ghana, it is 122 kg. To produce enough yam that will satisfy domestic demand, we have to cultivate 183,000 new hectares of yam plantation. We require to produce 18 billion kg of yam, 1.8 billion tubers of yam, 10 kg, scientifically produced at a cost of 1.8 trillion. Under this arrangement, in each of the wards, we will sell a tuber of yam anywhere in Nigeria at a cost of not more than 2,000 naira. Yam is at 8,000 and it's creating inflation because we have no scientific plan on that. Look at cocoa. Dr. Chief Obafemi Awolowo built the tallest building about till today with cocoa produce. The Southwest land mass 19 million hectares. If the Southwest dedicate 20% of their land mass in every electoral ward just to do cocoa under these same structured agro clusters, cocoa is something that can, if you go to cocoa research institute in Ibadan, you have breeds that can start yielding at one a year, 6 months, that can do up to 1.6 kg, 1.6 tons per hectare. If we dedicate 20% of the land mass in the Southwest, annually we produce about $61 billion worth of cocoa. Dry cocoa beans. I have not even talked about processing it. By the time we go into processing to cocoa powder, cocoa milk, cocoa yogurt, it's another wealth altogether. Okay. In the north, if the north decided to dedicate 2.5 million hectares of land under the same, and these clusters will create security because in every cluster you have local people that will be trained working with the police and the army and the DSS to form local agro rangers that will help to, because people know the good, the bad, and ugly. 2,500 clusters, each of them 600 hectares to 1,000 hectares. In a space of 2 years, we can produce about $109 billion worth of agro products from just 2.5 million hectares of those clusters where you do agro pasture. You set up agro dairy centers. In every of those clusters, we have about 5,500 cows. The Fraser Holstein interbreed with our local breed. That will do about 20 liters of milk every day. 5,000 milking cows, 500 bulls. Have you bothered to ask yourself? Netherlands has only cow population of about 1.6 million cows, scattered in 18,360 dairy centers in a small land mass. Yet annually they do over 24 billion euro worth of dairy beef value chain. We have 19 million cows. Based on the population in Nigeria, we still will import over $1 billion worth of dairy. Does it make sense? Because we've refused to be scientific about this. And all that government need to do is just to have somebody who is knowledgeable, who is creative, who is passionately patriotic, to sit at a public place and just draw up programs. Financing it to be very, very easy. Emir also simply said to them, he said, if the governors, those on the physical side, can give me a structure, I'm not going to be dishing out the kind of money we dished out that never came back. If they can give me a structure that I will fund, we will produce financing. The only problem we have is that, look at rice. Our domestic consumption, 7.5 million tons. We do not even produce up to 6 million tons. To produce enough, we just need to do 2 million hectares of rice plantation. Even if we don't want to use the farrow sip that we have here that does about 5 tons. Egypt, 95% desert. They have what they call the Geri species that does about 9 tons per hectare. The Egyptians have overtaken the Asians. We can replicate the same thing. 2 million hectares of land. In the same clusters, we will produce 24 million tons of paddy rice. 16.2 million tons of parboiled rice that we sell anywhere in Nigeria at a cost of 50,000 naira per 50 kg bag, and yet the producers will go home with almost about 1 trillion naira in profit. But these things require science, and that was what Michael Okpara did. Michael Okpara provided direction. That was why if you go, there's a place called Iri Farm Settlement. It encompasses the current Ebonyi, Abia, and Cross River, Akwa Ibom State, Cross River State. 4,800 hectares of Eri Farm Settlement. And I met an aged man when I visited that place. The man said he stayed in Eri for 1 year without leaving that settlement. There was schools built there. There was hospital. It was like a city center. And Michael did similar thing every places in a space of 6 years. He did not have any fossil fuel revenue to do this. He could see. So, you want to talk about if even if the government said they want to borrow to do this, to do a cluster of this agro-pastoral arrangement that will have 5,000 milking cows, 500 bulls, and then you have you do about 500 hectares of maize and the sorghum that you can use the silk to turn into animal feed after you have taken the maize, and then you do other things there. From a cluster that will take about $6 million to do, you will generate $42 million annually over the next 40 years.
Yes, I mean, honestly, you've actually answered like 3 of my questions already. But I want to look at Dr. Okpara's model that focused on heavily empowering local farmers. You've touched on that, and utilizing local resources. In today's globalized economy, how can the Nigerian government balance this local focus with the need to integrate global value chains and also have that on the backdrop of insecurity? Because you mentioned a lot of, in the north, that we know exactly what's happening in these places.
Exactly what I've tried to explain here. Like what Michael Okpara did. I give like the cocoa value chain. If you look at the cocoa global market size of cocoa, it's almost 10% of the global market size of the finished products that are controlled by the Nestle's. So what Michael simply did was to create clusters that where people can, with all the infrastructure. Because if you go to area, even the road that is in area are still standing almost 8 years after. So basically, what we expect governments to do, especially at the subnational level, because there is this madness of always focusing on Abuja. Abuja does not control any inch of the land. It's the governors and local government chairman. And we just need to build with them. And we're not asking them to touch their fact and their jack. Just come, let us come in and help you. Give you structured design and direction of how this can be done. What Michael did simply say, Michael created a cluster for the whole valley. I'll give you an example now. Like the dates. The date, when Bible talks about the land flowing with milk and honey, it's simply the dairy. And the honey is the date fruits. As wealthy as Saudi Arabia is, in 2006, they decided on an ambitious run to create date cluster. But it actually helped them to curb desertification and then to create oases for wealth. In less than 16 years, Saudi Arabia has done over, they have a date plantation that needs over $2 billion annually. We can create the same thing. Basically, what we do, if we do those clusters, like I said, we will now have agro rangers that will put, it will help us create security. And they will now create value chain. Those that are in the upstream that will do the production, cultivation will do it. Those that will do processing will do it. Those that will do storage will do it. Those that will, I'll give an example. Moringa oleifera. India today is a $9.5 billion sized, global sized, in terms of market size. It's anticipated to go to about $18 billion to 2030. India controls just 80%. They did for 3,000 hectares of land to do 2.2 million tons of it. It's one of the most rich pharmaceutical raw materials. It's used to produce drugs for cholesterol, for high BP and everything. You can even just bring it, dry the leaf,
moringa tea,
grind it into pan, and it's tea.
Yeah.
We can, and Nigeria is the only place where it grows twice in a year in the white.
Wow.
Practically, we are doing it. We've imported the hybrid PKM2. We are doing a pilot scheme in the southeast to see how, start with 100 hectares. and it will shock you. With $2 million investment to do moringa plantation, you will generate about $44 million annually.
It's over 1,000 profit.
It's 6,000% profit. And there is no skyrocket science. Plant it, nurse it, grow it well, protect it. Then you process the leaves, process the seeds, turn it into tea, set up tea making factories. Those that want to do pharmaceutical will come and take it from you. There is no brainer. But the problem is that we have been soaked with peasant farming. I'll give an example. My own community has about 178 hectares of land. Now imagine where there's a local government president. It's okay, community, you have this land. We're going to help you.
Anambra State?
Imo State.
Imo State.
Okay, Imo State.
Okay.
Imo State. Okay, we're going to help you. Provide you with simple infrastructure, borehole, because irrigation is very, very important. It will only help you to do 24/7, 365 days agriculture. We will provide you with security. We'll have agro rangers, about 20 youth or 30 from your community, and not bringing foreigners. We will train them, get the police to arm them, even with Shakabula. Give them accommodation there, and they will stay there. And when they are there, now you can break the land into clusters.
Shakabula cannot do the job.
Wait, I'm just telling you. Of course, even if you can also get the military to just put one armed personnel carrier there, you pay them well.
Yeah.
They will do it. Now you will begin to parcel the land. If you decide, okay, you want to do yam, that cluster will become for yam. It's rice. See, all we need to do, okay, what is rice consumption per capita? How do we cover it? Do it. You see this country? This country can generate nothing less than $250 to $370 billion annually from the agro value chain. We will produce it, we will crash food inflation, and it's a simple one. If we are exporting $270 billion worth of agro products, which is bigger than what we are getting from crude oil, in fact, we'll be begging Naira to gain over to divide, because the whites will be begging us to divide that, because Naira will become strengthened.
Doctor, two questions from me. One, what happened to the vision, the proposition by Southeast Farms to the governors and the local government authorities there? What part of this vision didn't they see for the thing not to work? And then secondly, I would like you to take the two together.
Okay.
Talking about Dr. Michael Opara and his vision and how he was able to be successful at that time, is there a tie-in to what the Patriots are proposing now, including Chief Emeka and Yanwood, that they're proposing to the president about the possible return to 1963 constitution, which allowed people like Dr. Opara, Awolowo, all of them to excel?
Yes, I think going back to 1963 constitutional framework with amendments in our electoral laws and processes that will allow men with vision, with understanding, with passion, with creativity, with patriotism like Michael Opara to emerge, will help us to reset Nigeria back to the path of productivity. But even if we go back to the 1963 constitutional framework without rejigging our electoral process to make it very transparent, not to make it cash and carry thing, we will still be the same way we are, even till next 50 years. Even without rejigging the constitution, like you ask me, why didn't the governors listen to this? Now, it's so unfortunate because one, somebody asked me, we lost so much money. In fact, between 2020 to 2022, we lost over 300 million naira to insecurity. Yes, we did massive. There was a company that came into Ghana to do Cavendish banana in 2006. 1,700 hectares of land. They export $52 million worth of Cavendish every year. So we decided to replicate something. Unfortunately for us, the state government had an understanding because they are part of CFAP code. And we had 850 hectares of land. I decided to go into massive development of the palm, the Cavendish, to create the same wealth. We brought in bulldozers, we invested so much. One night, local bandits, I didn't say foreign bandits, from neighboring community, they came and destroyed the whole thing with acid. Because we later found out that we were having a struggle with the other communities from other states. We lost everything. But that did not discourage us. So basically what we are doing now is that we are not doing things in enclosed environment. If we have any person that has a land that is fenced, that has borehole, we'll lease it and we'll go in there. See, agric is gold. Agric, in our greenhouses, you ask anybody, they will tell you in Netherlands, they do about 8 kg to 15 kg per square meter in a greenhouse. We are doing 30 kg per square meter. We are doing twice what the Dutch guys are doing. But because we had an enclosed environment, which is very expensive. Yeah. Because we are going to incur the cost of fencing, the cost of which the man in Netherlands is not incurring. So my cost of production is higher, despite the fact that I have a better yield, because we have adopted the same international best agro practices. So basically, what we are begging, because some of these people, it's just for them to sit down. I give you, there was a particular governor in the southeast that asked his commissioner for agri to reach out to us.
Okay.
The guy sent me a mail and I replied him. I even got a border commissioner to pick, get his phone number to call him. Your governor have said, you said the governor said, how can we help your state? He has not gotten back to me for the past two months. Now, the issue is that the governors must not also learn when you delegate. You should also be able to follow up, diarize it. Remind us, man, I asked you to call people to help us. What did you do? But they are so busy and focused launching roads, launching flyovers, without realizing that the most important indices for measuring good governance is the Human Development Index. How you will impact on the education, the health, and the food security of your people.
Okay, Dr. Berry, before we let you go, because we really have to run, is there any role whatsoever for the minister or the ministers of agriculture? And exactly.
And what would you say to them? 30 seconds.
To be honest with you, if I should have my way, we'll not have anything like Minister for Agriculture. We may just have an SA for Agriculture or a coordinating desk for agric development. Because by the virtue of by the reason of the Land Use Act, the governors control the state.
Yes.
And that's why I said we should look inward and ask our governors. And like I said, we need to help them. Because sometimes some of them also want to do this thing, but they are distracted. Then we need to keep on hammering it, keep on reminding them that the welfare of the people, which is most important, the food they eat, the water they drink, should be the utmost part, and their security. Once you provide the physiological need of man and security, if all that thing will just fall into place. What was Michael Opera's vision? To put cheap food on the table of every person, and it was achieved. Absolutely. And based on that, he grew the economy by about 9.5% per annum, fastest growing. And if this, see, in the South, I told you, I said the Southeast governors, if they can come together and adopt some of this, we can generate about $60 to $100 billion annually from the Southeast.
Great. Thank you.
Just the Southeast alone.
Dr. Emir Of Kano, this has been a very enlightening conversation, and I really hope that the leaders are listening and they actually do what's right. Thank you so much. Development scientist and investment banking executive. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Berry.
Thank you.
All right then.
So guys, I love the fact that Mr. Nnemeka was speaking from experience, and he was also calling out the governors. Should anybody excuse Tinubu for being an aged man, that possibly his brain cannot understand what creativity is, and also trying to have different stream of income coming to Nigeria? Anyway, let's look towards the governors. Mr. Nnemeka did not spare them, calling out the governors in Nigeria who think it's all about collecting security votes. Recently, Tinubu said he has released money to them, the money they save from subsidy. Instead of him to go ahead and subsidize for the Nigerian people, he's paying it to state governors. And the state governors have got us nothing. I mean, there's nothing to prove that they even collected such amount of money. And that's to tell you the level of mess in the system. These people have taken us for granted. And that is why, Nigerians, it is time for us to wake up. In case you don't know, there is a fearless protest coming up from the 1st of October. Are you ready? I believe that this time, this protest shouldn't just be about people going out to protest while others are going about their normal businesses. It is time for us to unite and come together as a full force to show these people that power belongs to the people and not to our politicians. To also tell them that it is a privilege that the people allow them to occupy those positions and that they shouldn't abuse it. And that's why we all should gather momentum, gather strength, because it's another time to tell this government and to tell those of them occupying sensitive position that we've had enough of their excesses. We've condoned enough of their mess. We've taken enough of, the way they have catastrophically destroyed this country. We've taken enough of all those. We want a rebuilt Nigeria. We want a brand new country. And that is why one of our plea this time around should just be the electoral reform. And let it be an electoral reform that at the end of any election, people will be called to account. People will be held responsible. I mean, where there are flaws, people should be held accountable. That's the kind of country we want. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell,